with, I am just thrilled that we are actually doing this and sharing this information about our passion and love of animals. So my name is Mary DeSilva, and I am a proud Healy World member in the suburbs of Chicago, almost in Wisconsin. And I've been using the Healy since April, and there's a very funny story that goes with that, which we will not share tonight, right, Michelle? But in that time, I have personally experienced some profound health changes, and then my 7 animals. So I have 4 cats, I have 3 horses, and my riding discipline is dressage. So, there's a lot of us that are horse people, a lot of us that are on here are dog and cat, and we're going to share a lot of fun stories. So, I've loved animals since I was a little girl, and I know that I can probably speak for every single person that's listening and the panelists that are on this right now. And it truly, every day I say to myself, I look in the mirror and I go, is this really happening? Is this happening in my life, that I am involved with something that has such a profound impact, not only on us, but our animals? And I'm talking animals at the zoo. I'm talking about our animals, our horses, cats, dogs, birds. And to be able to be a part of this is, it's a God wink. And for all of you that are listening, if you've not used it on your animals yet, stay tuned. Tonight is going to be really interesting, and we're going to be doing more of these. And there's a lot of people on here that are really excited about sharing what they're experiencing. I'm hearing outside of my office, my cats are out of their minds trying to get in here. And I know anybody that's probably listening is doing the same thing, putting their animals away so that they don't bother you. So I do need to share a disclaimer about the Healy. So it's an FDA cleared medical device. It's cleared for over-the-counter sales. It's designed to be used for temporary relief of pain associated with sore and aching muscles. It's to address the symptomatic relief and management of chronic intractable pain and relief of pain due to arthritis. So that's a brief description of the Healy. And again, tonight we're talking about how it's going to impact animals. So we're not going to get into details about what the Healy can do. But what I'd like to do is have each of the panelists briefly introduce themselves, and then we're going to come back and we're going to hear animal whispering and animal stories, and it's going to be really fun. I know I'm going to hear some stories tonight that I have not heard, and it just keeps growing, and the passion that I know I can say for all of us that we all have just keeps growing as well. So I'm going to start out with my friend Andy. And Andy, why don't you introduce yourself and share a bit about you? And I'm so happy to have you in my life.
Thanks, Mary. My name's Andy Pathwald. I'm an international Grand Prix dressage trainer and competitor. I have 11 to 12 horses at a time in a full-time training barn in Northern Illinois, Wadsworth, Illinois. And I have loved horses since, day one. I also have a wonderful 13-year-old dog named Maggie. I have a 3-year-old son and a wonderful husband as well. I started using the Healy in May of this year, the middle of May. Mary, actually, whom we just heard, introduced me to it, and it has absolutely changed my life. I won't go into all of the health benefits that I've myself received from it, because this is about animals, but I will say that after I felt the benefits of the Healy, I couldn't wait to start using it on all of my horses, as well as my dogs. And it's been pretty incredible. I can't wait to share the stories with you guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so next, Dawn she's got horses, cats, and birds. So Dawn, please share who you are and a little bit about you, and then.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dawn Stone. I am a grateful Healy World member. I was in corporate for 45 years, and last October I lost my corporate job, and Mary De Silva, God bless you, introduced me to the Healy, and now it is also part of my life. I've been riding since I was 8 years old, and I'm 70, and I'm still riding, which is awesome. I have one horse now who I've had since he was 2, and he's just 20. I have 3 cats and 3 birds, and I use my Healy on all of them, as well as my significant other, Kenny. And I have a separate story to share about him, but this is not the call. So.
Well, we seem to be in the Zoom business, so awesome. Thank you, Dawn. And we'll be back. And then my friend Caroline, who I've known for a long time too, and another horse, just another animal lover. But Caroline, please give us a little bio.
Thank you, Mary. So I am currently president of International Equine Nutraceutical Product, and I came to that via my husband, who patented that with a friend. And I have always been in the horse arena, riding since I was quite young, and always involved in that discipline from various avenues. But I have really, my medical background out of college was working for Johnson & Johnson. So I've been on the human and the animal side as far as products and medical devices, nationally and internationally. And I have always looked for ways to see and seek out technologies that can better the life of a human and or an animal, or both at the same time. So I find it fascinating to have been welcomed into the Healy world. Mary, meeting you, I've known you for over 15 years, and thank you for introducing the product to me. I find it to be a product that is a game changer for everyone, everywhere. I think it's a incredible mobile device that is allowing animal owners to basically have the opportunity to care for their animals at a higher level. And it's incredibly exciting. I've experienced a lot with it via Andy and yourself. With my personal animals, I have always had horses and dogs for the most part, but it is really a fascinating journey. And I look forward to every week because of what it's doing and what you're hearing from all over the world. And it's something that I really hope that everyone will have access to, and that it will continue to grow. So it's exciting.
Well, our founder, Marcus, wants it in 100 million households, and I say game on. Thank you, Caroline. So, and then Amy, we've not yet met, and I can't wait to meet you because your reputation precedes you. And give us a little snippet about you. I know it's actually very interesting. I was learning a little bit about you last night when we were messaging back and forth. So share away, please.
Okay, my name is Amy Lucas. I have a practice with humans in Northbrook, Illinois. I was introduced to Healy through Michelle Koza. I've known Michelle a while, and then through some people at work. So I've used the Healy on clients that I work with, which concussion, brain injury type people. And then I started using it on my dog. I have one dog, and I've used it on a few other people's therapy dogs. So it's been very interesting. I'm learning a lot in how to, it's helping me understand people and what they're going through. And I don't know, it's been great. So I use it both at work, and then I use it at home on my 8-year-old dog.
The Healy 24/7. Well, that might be too much, but I think all of us have done that when we first got the device, that's for sure, and not listening to instruction. So, and then Michelle, oh my gosh, every day I am inspired by you, Michelle, and learning so much from you. And wow, we're on this crazy fun journey, aren't we? So anyway, Michelle, please share who you are.
Hi, Mary. Thank you. Well, my name is Michelle Kaza. I live in the northern suburbs of Chicago, Deerfield, Illinois. I'm a real estate broker. I'm ACE certified personal trainer with a nutrition certificate. I've got CrossFit Level 1 certified. So health and nutrition's always been my passion. And I love helping heal people and animals. And what it's done for my animals is absolutely insane. And that's why Mary's making me do the Zoom. And but yeah, but I love animals pretty much more than most people. So obviously this is the greatest thing ever. And what it's done for my dog is phenomenal. So me and my multiple Heelys, I'm just like a wizard, and that's what I do. Just frequency all day long. So that's me. Thanks, Mary.
Oh, that could be a good nickname. Someone said next time when you talk, just talk louder.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Well, yes, we will the next go round. So anyway, someone just said that. So who am I going to introduce next? Chris Bruntz, who is in Colorado. But Chris, please introduce yourself and tell us about you.
Hello. As she said, I live in Colorado, real close to two universities, UNC and CSU. I live in Eaton. It's a very small farm community, and I was living in Greeley. My husband and I just purchased 5 acres, so I finally made it back to the country, and I've had my mare for, 29 years. And when we moved into town, I had to give up one of my horses, and by the grace of God, I got him back. So I have 2 horses. I am married to Dan, and I have a beautiful daughter, 16, and my son is 19. He recently moved out, but we just got a new addition to the family. I was just telling Mary, I had a border collie. Well, we had a border collie for about 13 years, and she passed away a few years back, and it took a while for us to get ready for another dog, but we just welcomed a new dog into our family, and we haven't picked a name yet. So maybe, if anybody wants to throw out suggestions, that would be great. So I am just excited to be on this call because ever since I was a young girl, I've loved animals. Anything in nature I've just adored, and I used to catch wild animals that were wounded and nurse them back to health, and I don't know how I didn't end up being a vet tech, but my background is more technology. I've been a web developer and a technical recruiter, so that's kind of my work background. But yeah, I'm just happy to be on the call. I am just so excited to use the Healy on my the humans I love, but also all of the animals that I love, and help Healy the world. So that's me.
Oh yeah, Healy the world is right. So thank you. I was going to say I thought you lived in Greeley, but you moved a little bit away. That's a beautiful part of the country. So I'm going to introduce Vanessa with this lovely drawl. I can't do it. I thought the first time, I don't even remember the first time I heard a voicemail from you, but I thought you were talking about someone else when you introduced Chris and I. And then when I realized it was Chris, I went, oh my God, I love that Southern drawl. So y'all listen to Vanessa. She's a neat lady. She's got horses and animals. And so tell us about you. I didn't steal your thunder. You got more.
Well, my name is Vanessa Skidmore, and I've been an RN for about 41 years. I'm also an esthetician for probably about 15. I'm also a nest practitioner for about 7. So when I found Healy, I was so excited. Well, I didn't really understand what it was when I was first approached with it. I said no. I can't believe I said that now. When I finally looked at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is everything that I've been looking for. I love frequency machines and what it can do for everyone. I mean, and for our Healy to be able to do animals on it as well as humans, with my Nest, I actually had to pay about $12,000 more just for the animal software. So that was like a game changer. But anyway, I have 3 horses, I have 3 dogs, I have peacocks, and I have 2 cats. So I as well have loved animals all my life. When I was young, my mother would literally say, you cannot come home with another animal. I had about 13 or 14 cats, probably about 13 dogs. I rescued everything, wanted to feed everything. I couldn't stand for anything I got hungry. It was just crazy. But anyway, I would sneak them home in suitcases, thinking my mother wouldn't find them. And then I would tell, I hate to say I told lies, but I told her I was babysitting a dog. And my mother said, I've been babysitting this dog for 6 months. Just, I love animals. But when I got my horses, I lived in Texas all my life. And then when we moved to Colorado, we're like, okay, we've got almost 30 acres. We're going to get our horses. I have 3 children. I have 9 grandchildren. They're all grown. So like, okay, let's do it. Most people our age downsize. We just got a lot more. Okay. But when I got the horses, we got them from 2 vets, and we bought 2. I think they're like 7 months old. I wanted 4. And even the vet said, let's wait and see how you do with the 2 first, Well, I learned right quick, like, it is not like it is in the movies, because I didn't grow up with horses, remember. I thought you just hop on them and ride. I did not realize all the training, which we have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on training, because, they can kill you if they're not trained right and you're not trained. My daughter actually said, Mother, what delusional world are you living in at your age to get these beasts? But I love them. I love them, and I love all animals. So I'm so excited to be here and be a part of this as well, so that we can, as a group, come together and see how can we best utilize this Healy to help so many animals that don't have, they don't have a voice. They can't tell us. Mm-hmm. And with this having a physical, emotional, element to it, we're able to see what exactly is going on. I'm going to say one last thing, but one of my horses was a national Western Pleasure champion. And when I got him, I did not realize at the time, because he did everything he needed to do out in the arena or whatever, that he had a torn suspensory ligament. Plus his tongue had literally been almost cut in half from the training with him. And so when the vet, saw him, he's like, I want you to come see, because you've basically rescued this horse, which I've paid a fortune for. Okay. And then to be a suspensory ligament damage. Anyway, I'm so thankful. And I'll tell a little bit more about the story later on. Sorry, I got off on that, but I'm thankful to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my God. So, it's hard to not get excited. I go to the barn every day, and it's like, that's all we talk about. We got our Heelys up here. We got a couple of them going. So, oh my gosh, I love the passion, and truly being an adult and being able to act like a kid again around animals, and to be able to help them is it's the biggest gift. It's the biggest gift in my life. So, and I wanted to introduce Renee, Renee is actually the one that introduced me to the Healy. And I'm going to tell you too, that when she said to me, I said, stop, I don't want to hear anything else. But then John McNulty, if you're on this call, I go and train with him. I saw him the next morning, and he looks at, John's a researcher. I respect him tremendously. He goes, I think there's something to it. And I go, really? So I immediately went home and I signed up. So I just Renee, thank you. You're the one that started all of this. And I just want to say thank you. And of course, Renee has animals. So Renee, talk to us.
Well, thank you, Mary. And I'm glad you said yes.
Me too.
So my name is Renee Solom, and I'm in California. And I am a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and I have 2 dogs myself. I have 2 lab puppies. But like Vanessa, was one that I would always rescue a lot of kittens growing up. I always was bringing kitties home. And so we always gave them a new home. I did grow up with dogs and cats. My youngest has a bird, but I've never had a horse. I've always wanted a horse. So maybe one day that will become a reality. But we're just really happy to be here and share with you. And I love Healy. We're going to Healy the world.
Oh, we totally are. So, well, I wanted to set the framework for, who we are, because each of us come from different backgrounds. And I didn't share, I was in the corporate world for 35 years, financial services. And I look back at all the things that I've done. Everything that I've done has led me to this moment, and that it involves animals. Literally, I just say, thank you, God, every day. And anybody that knows me, everybody that does know me just says, oh my God, I can't believe that you found something. It's perfect for you. So I'm blessed and grateful. So, okay, so now we're going to go back to my trainer. I didn't tell you that Andy is my trainer. So I want Andy to share, because Andy has been leading every day. I mean, she's like this. Oh, did you try this? Oh my God, this is what I'm doing today. So, you know, I introduced it to Andy, but I'm learning from Andy every day. And I just want to say thank you to her. So she's the horse whisperer. So I want her to share. So take it away.
All right. I am so excited to share with you guys some pretty incredible testimonials that I've done with the Healy for my horses as well as my dog. I narrowed it down to 3, which was difficult because I've got some amazing testimonials. And I have to say I use the Healy in all different ways on my horses and my dogs, my animals. I've done mostly the slides that you're going to see have been done with the resonance model with vibrations sent to their information field. I've found that animals are incredibly in tune with their information field, and you can make amazing changes, benefits to them with just the vibrations from the resonance tool. However, I've also been using the Healy through the Pink Dot app with actual frequencies. I've used it in a number of different ways. One with out connections and just having it emit a frequency cloud around the horse. I have a little pouch that I put a double-sided clip on and just clip it to their halter and let it run. And then I've also experimented with putting the sticky pads directly on a problem spot, if you will, like a sore back on a horse. I just eliminated pain in a 20-minute chronic back pain program, which was incredible. So I won't go into too many details on that, but I do want to share my screen and show y'all some incredible results that I've had on my horses. It's 2 horses and a dog. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And there we go. Oh, wait, let's see. Okay, hang on. Okay, we're gonna start here, guys. This is what you're looking at, the screen. I wrote up the testimonial on the left on a testimonial page, but in the middle, I have a 5-year-old Hanoverian gelding who, let's see, he came up lame on June 25th. And on his left hind, and I had my vet out to do an ultrasound, and that first ultrasound you're looking at on the left-hand side is what was diagnosed. If you see in the middle of those arrows, kind of that black line, that is a tear in his annular ligament, which is a ligament that runs along the back of his ankle. And the diagnosis was pretty terrible. We had planned to take him and have surgery to cut that ligament, which, he was then going to have full function, we hoped, of the leg. And then we were going to send him down to Kentucky to rehab in an underwater treadmill so that he could get full range of motion. So basically his prognosis was pretty terrible. And we hoped that we'd get him back to full work eventually. And he's obviously 5 and young and has a full career hopefully ahead of him. So I started sending vibrations. I would scan him through the Resonance app, and then I would send him vibrations. I had kind of a whole list of the databases that I would scan and send. I always made sure to do Materia Medica, Schussler salts, amino acids, an all Healy scan. And then if anything, popped up high, I would always look at the percentages. Then I would resend those. One thing I have to note, and I think everybody's probably experienced that, is that animals do not need a lot of or long bursts of vibrations for this. You can see on the right-hand side, the tissue healed tremendously. if you see where the black, tear was on the left, it was 2.5 weeks later, which I find absolutely incredible healing. On July 15th, my vet was out. I felt like she was going to look at me like I had grown 2 heads because I said, can you just re-ultrasound Zhivago, because I want to see if I've done anything with the Healy vibrations. And she scanned it and about fell over because, as you see on the right-hand side, the tendon, or I'm sorry, it's a ligament. The ligament had reduced its swelling back to the normal size because it had doubled. And then the tear, basically you're looking for the white fibers to have realigned like you see on the right-hand side. It was truly unbelievable. And not only was the ultrasound good, but the horse was also sound, meaning he was not limping anymore, and he went directly back to work. And I was able to rehab him up slowly, and he's been under saddle ever since. So avoiding surgery, avoiding rehab, and a horse back to work with a major ligament tear in 2.5 weeks. It's profound. I've never ever seen anything like it. And I've been in the horse business for a long time and used a lot of different modalities and therapies for my horses, always providing anything and everything we can to make our equine athletes help them perform better. So that was unbelievable. Next, this is my dog, Maggie. She's 13 years old, and she came in July 19th with this nasty looking cut on the top of her head. You can see on the top screen. It was a Sunday night. I looked at it and I thought, ooh, that could probably use a couple stitches. I'm just going to clean the wound and I'm going to send some skin vibrations to her. And so I scanned her, and of course, Support Wounds Local came up the highest. And I sent, several rounds of vibrations to her. And that July 19th, that was in the evening around 9 o'clock when she came in after being outside for the evening. And then July 20th, that was the next morning. So not even 12 hours later, I would say a reduction of like 60-70% reduction in the size of the wound. And then you can see July 21st, healing even more, and then July 22nd practically gone. So in 3.5 days, it was truly tremendous. And she's an older dog, 13, and that's how well she responded and how quickly she responded. All right, last, this one is also extremely profound as well. So on the left-hand side, this is I think he's a 7-year-old gelding. He's not one of my training horses, but he's a fellow dressage trainer in the area's horse. And a little background on him, he had colic surgery 3 years ago. So this indentation in his stomach on the left-hand side, those 2 pictures, it's 3 years old. The vet told the trainer and the owner that would never go away. It would always have that indentation. And when you would feel it, it basically, just there was a lack of tissue and muscle under the belly, and it just you could just push it in. And so I started sending vibes, and the picture on the right where you can see there's still a tiny indentation, but miraculous, healing and improvement was a week and a half later. With vibrations. And again, kind of the same database as a lot of the skin database, because that has scar tissue, scars local, scars systemic. And a lot of his issue was, resulting from that colic surgery and the scar afterwards. So that's amazing, in my opinion, those results. So a week and a half later, that's what his stomach looked like. And when you felt it, you could tell that the tissue was reforming. It's kind of like a webbing of tissue reforming. So again, these are just 3 of my testimonials, but I think they are incredible, and I can't believe what the Healy has been doing. And I have to say, I think it's going to change how we care for and manage our horses and our animals.
Oh, that's awesome, Andy. So, by the way, this is the first time we've done one of these as it relates to horses. I'm sure we could go all night, but what I want to do is we're fresh with these questions. Dr. Clove, I don't know if that's really your name or if that's just your whatever on here. He or she wants to know how long and frequent were the treatments and any protocol.
Sure, from me.
Yes, you.
Yes.
Please,
Okay. Yes. So I did the horse with the belly, with that indentation in his belly. I kind of experimented myself on that one because I'm sending so many vibes to so many animals and humans that I'm running out of time in the day with my training business as well. So for that one, I only sent 2 minutes and 49 seconds of those databases, the amino acids, Materia Medica, Schussler salts. I would scan the All Healy. If it was a high percentage for his top 1 or 2, I would then go into that specific database and drill down and send another 2 minutes and 49. But I always sent the skin database as well. So I have to say I kind of did a full scale. I didn't only send vibrations from one database, but those that I send that I listed off there are the ones that I send to my horses every day on a regular basis. And with the ligament, which is amazing, I did send the same list that I just listed off, and I would alternate, between 1:20 down to 37 seconds up to 2 minutes and 49, but I never did any over 2 minutes and 49 seconds for either of those.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, like Andy is just saying, that we're all learning along the way, and there isn't any specific protocol. I think some of it is a gut sense, but what Andy just said about how quickly animals will receive the vibrations or the frequencies, that's the interesting part. Andy, that was awesome. I'm sure we're going to have more questions as we keep going with more animals and horses. And someone did ask in the chat, Dr. Carolyn Love, hello, holistic veterinarian, welcome, we love you. If everyone would, when you're talking about your animals, if you would share what programs you're using and just a little more detail so that we can give some direction to people who are learning for the first time with their own animals. So I'm gonna have Dawn talk because she's got a bunch of stories also. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Hi, everybody again. I have had, of course, animals my entire life, as we all have. And I'm just getting some astounding results with the Healy on all of them. I normally run the Analyze Vibration program from the residents every day on my animals and myself to see, what their bodies need on that particular day. Then I either vibrate from the residents' Healy Blue Dot app or I run the microcurrents on the Pink Dot app, depending on proximity. Obviously, if I run them on my horse and I'm at home, I run the residents vibration app, and I generally never run them for more than 2 minutes and 49 seconds, the second on the scale. With my horse Finney, he's 20 years old. He's had an on and off lameness in his right front for about 2 years. And I've done everything. I've done, the naproxen. I've done the injecting of the coffin joint and the fetlock joint and gave him rest and, the liniments and everything that you can do. And when I received my Healy, I started running the vibration programs on him. And within about 2 weeks, now I had changed my farrier as well as my horseshoer. So I have to maybe attribute some of it to him. But as I said, it was an on and off lameness for about 2 years. So I really think it was mostly due to the Healy. But I was running the pain programs on him, both systemic and then the local pain. In the vibrations. And then I was running the Healy Gold cycles on him, pure and care and release. And he's perfectly sound now. He doesn't have any body soreness. And I also use the microcurrents on him with the Healy Pink Dot app when I'm at the barn. And I have attached the pads, as Andy had mentioned, to either side of his wither or on his back. and I attach the Healy to either a lunge surcingle, which goes around the body, you know, at the heart girth area, or sometimes I use a polo wrap. But it's worked like a charm. I mean, at 20 years old, he was getting arthritic, you know, his hocks were getting a little, what we call hockey. But he's going better than he has in years, and I am so grateful for the Healy. My cats, I have 3 cats, all with various health issues. My most recent rescue, Callista, is a 4-year-old Persian, and she has had a herpes virus in her eye, again, that I've been treating for 2 years with literally no success, and I've spent thousands of dollars on it, and I even took her to the animal eye clinic. I started running the Gold Cycle on her, the microcurrents, actually, and I just cranked the thing up to 100%, and I just set it next to my cats when I'm running the program, and they just, you know, hang out and enjoy the frequencies. Within a week, her eye cleared up. 1 week, totally cleared up. I was blown away. And that was with, again, the microcurrents. So that inspired me to use it on my cat, Allison. Allison has mammary cancer in both of her mammary chains. She is terminal. Allison is 16 years old, also a rescue. I've had her for about 10 years. And she was starting to, you know, look like she wasn't feeling well. Her coat was starting to look rough. She wasn't as interactive as she used to be. I started first, again, running the Gold Cycle programs on her. I was running mostly care and release. And then I started running the Biogenic Balance 1 program. As far as Allison, I was running that program. As far as Callista on her eye, I was running the Biogenic Balance 1 Eyes program on her eye. But getting back, I've been running the Gold Cure and Release of the Biogenic 1 Balanced Immune System. And I know she's terminal, but the change in her attitude and appetite, and she's playing and running with the other cats now like a kitten. I'm going to share my screen and show you her picture with her Healy, if it'll share. Can you see my screen? Probably not, huh? Let me get it over here.
We saw it. She was there.
You see it? Okay. Well, let me put this back here.
Oh, it's something else, yeah.
Yeah. So, and generally with all the cats, when I run the Healy next to them when they're hanging out or just napping, you know, they lay there and sometimes they fall asleep and they just, you know, love their vibrations. So, I know that, again, you know, we're nearing the end with her. Her tumors are enlarging, and she actually licked one open to where she bled. I took her to the vet last week. And so, you know, I'm watching her quality of life. She's still happy. She doesn't seem to be in pain, but I know the Healy has helped her because she's acting like her old self. As far as my third cat, Delilah, she's in end-stage kidney failure. She's also a rescue. She's 18 years old. And I've been running the Healy Gold programs on her. Sorry, I lost her. Here she is. And I took her to the vet last Monday, and her numbers have improved significantly. The vet said to me, "What are you doing different? Whatever you're doing, it's working." So I told her about the Healy. So, and I run the microcurrent on her, also the Biogenic 1 and 2 programs. The only thing I do to them with the vibrations, with the resonance, is I scan them daily to see what they're resonating with. And, you know, mostly both of them are in the Biogenic 1 and 2. I also have 3 cockatiels that I run the vibrations on. One of them is almost 20 years old, and the other 2 are about 15. And my 20-year-old cockatiel, Senna, he was starting to look a little rough as well. You know, he wasn't interacting, and he was, you know, kind of like just hanging around in the cage and not whistling at me and not tweeting at me. And so I started running vibrations on him. Again, I always start with the Gold Cycle, and he's so much better. He's happy. You know, he's tweeting. I open the cage door. He comes out now, which he wasn't doing. So I have to say it works on horses, cats, and birds. And most recently, a very close friend of mine, her horse foundered a few days ago. And for those of you who are in horses, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, it's a debilitating condition that causes the coffin bone, which is a hoof-shaped bone in the horse's foot, to drop and rotate through the lamina. And it's an extremely painful condition, and sometimes it's so bad the horses need to be euthanized. He has a 3-degree rotation in one front foot and a 2.6-degree rotation in the other front foot. He's on stall rest, he's in cloud boots, and I'm running the microcurrents on him for the pain programs and also for circulation. And actually the last 2 days he seems to be improved. He was actually walking sound with the cloud boots. We've taken him out of his stall just a little bit just to get him, some exercise and some, pumping some blood into his foot. But the vet came back today and said that he was slightly improved. But again, it's going to be a long road. But I'm treating him twice a day with the microcurrents when I'm at the barn. And then I just use the resonant vibrations when I'm not. So I am joyful and thankful that Healy's in our lives, and that we can do so much for our animals, whether they're young or whether they're at the end of their lives. And that's all I have.
Oh, no, we all have a lot more. So we were debating when we did, a prep for this webinar, how to address questions. So I'm going to read a couple of the questions because I think it would be nice if other people heard some of this, although everyone can see the chat. So Diane R asked, Andy, did you only send frequencies once per day or multiple times per day? She has a dog with a torn ligament tendon in his knee and is facing surgery and want to send frequencies to him. So Andy, I'll let you address it. She asked you, if you don't mind.
Sure. I did send for the ligament tear in my horse. I did send multiple times a day. I'd say 3 to 4 times, but like I said, they were very short spurts. And then for the stomach issue, that was once a day.
Awesome. Okay. Let me see if I can get one more. Okay. Beth asked, how do you run the scan for the resonance? Just pulled it on the horse. No, so some of this is a little more detailed, and there's, Beth, there's a lot of content out there on how to use the program. So what I would recommend is getting back to the person that sponsored you and have them get some direction, or if I'm thinking you're already a Healy member, in our back office, there's quite a bit of content there too. So, and on YouTube. So just an FYI. And let me see if I can get one other. Digital nutrition, no, not using that on the animals. Let's see. Sonia has a puppy who broke her leg during surgery. Was determined she needed a plate and a screw to stabilize the bone. I mean, first of all, we are not veterinarians. I'm pretty sure that Dr. Clove would be able to address some of these things. So what my personal recommendation, first, again, I'm just going to, I say to people, I'm just a person that wants to save every animal and human on the planet. So what I would do is start out small, just do a resonance analysis on your dog and start running very short bursts. And I think everyone that's on this call, and I think actually, Michelle, you're coming up. Why don't you, I know that you could address some of these as well. Everybody could, but Michelle, you've done a lot of work with dogs, so I'm going to let you go.
Hi. Hopefully you can hear me. Nobody could hear me the first time when we tried talking either. I go on mute. It's something with my computer. So I've got a dog, a cat. I've worked on, I shouldn't say worked on, but I've helped my friends also, with their animals remotely. And what I've done I'm going to start with what I just did for my friend, basically. She could be on here. Her name's Melissa. when we're on Zooms together, I could see she's got a puppy and it just wants her attention. And it's got this high pitched bark and would just, bark, 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 you know, and I'd be like, oh my God, I need to help her because she's so distracted trying to quiet this dog. So I end up, you know, pulling up my Healy. I took her little puppy Roxy and just started sending her frequencies, and you could see Melissa even calming down because the dog was actually becoming quiet and just fell asleep in her lap. I think it was her lap. But so it's like, then she was able to concentrate on our Zoom. But anyway, so that was one little thing I did with her puppy. And I'm going to then go to my cat, Zoe, who was extremely depressed. We lost Ziggy, our other cat, a few months, this is already like in December of last year, I think. And she grew up with him. I mean, he was here before she was, and I didn't realize just how sad she actually was. But in the aura analysis, I could go in and actually read what she was thinking and try to help change her thoughts and make her feel, you know, like, or help her process what was happening, basically. So that was really amazing to see her with that. And, you know, my Ziggy, he would zigzag. He was a special needs cat. And I've never really had cats before. My mom stuck me with this one that was abused, and I felt bad. And then I got into fostering, and, you know, the bleeding heart that we all are, I ended up with another cat. And that's how we ended up with Zoe. But she could hop up on counters and jump, and my other cat didn't. It was like a dog to me. And the other thing, then, I didn't realize that her muscles were hurting her, or she had any aches or pains, because she could jump, and here she is. Here she's jumping. But the Healy basically told me, run, you know, joints and bones, run this and that. And you could see her becoming, come here, Zoe, she's right here. Oh my goodness, so much happier and agile. And this is her, say hi. But she's just a happy cat now. She gets frequencies, I'd say, still like twice a week, but that's it. I mean, she's happy, she's not in pain, and she's not depressed. And it did tell me she was depressed. Yeah, well, I don't know if we're allowed to say these things. It's a cat, you can't really diagnose, but she was definitely not happy. And now she's a very happy kitty, basically, and she's old. But here's the craziest thing is my dog. She's, you know, was like a part of me, basically, as dogs are your best friend. And she's literally at the end of her life. I probably can't even talk about this to everybody because it's so sad to me that she's getting old. I'm gonna cry. I know, it's terrible. I didn't know that was gonna happen. But okay, so let's start with, she had tons of fatty masses all over her body. They started shrinking as I was working with her on the Healy. At first, I would attach it to her collar, and, you know, just go through all the scans that it would come up. And I just did the minute 20 seconds. When she would finally, you know, when she'd stand up, I knew that she was done because that was all she could handle. But so her masses all are gone, basically. She doesn't even have a fatty mass that you can feel on her body anymore. She used to have like almost like a huge skin tag that growing out of the top of her head, which is gone. And so back in May, also, I went to Arizona with my daughter, pick up her stuff. She goes to school there, and, you know, got stuck here for COVID and whatever in Chicago. My husband called me and said, I think you better come home. I think Bella's not going to make it another day. And I'm like, shit. You know, I knew she wasn't good, but when I left, but she wasn't that bad. So of course I hop on a plane immediately, and I was working on her from Arizona. I had the Wi-Fi going on the plane, and, you know, connected there, and then ran on the plane all the way home, and ran program, said goodbye to her that night, basically, because it really looked like that was it. The next morning, she was like, nothing happened. she was ready to go again, walking totally normally, still going upstairs. And Rick even couldn't believe it, my husband, who's, skeptical of everything, but she's been great. And then I would say about a month ago again, we had the same kind of thing where I thought that was it. This is almost, we're done. She's not in pain. I mean, we know 100%. You can read her, analysis. I'm sitting right now in our office. My husband works here all day long, but she lays by his side. Couldn't be happier. Her hind legs are starting to fail her, but she can still walk. She loves going on walks. It's just, she's over 100 years old in people years. And if you sat on the floor as an adult or a 100-year-old person, I don't think you're going to get back up easily either. So that's my excuse but she's fine. You keep her, she's happy. So I run scans on her. I don't do it every day anymore. I think it's too much. Because there's really nothing physically wrong with her anymore. It's just to keep her comfortable and happy, and just all their auras are just amazingly happy now. And so, but the programs that I run are Schussler salts. Like, I think that's phenomenal for your muscles and ligaments. The Australian Bach flowers, chakras, amino acids. And in the beginning, I wasn't doing much of that. But now I think it's just more supportive stuff that I'm doing for her and for Zoe, because they're pretty good and they're great. So I don't know. That's pretty much it, Mir. My animals are
My
awesome.
God, I know. Well, I was reading to you what I wanted to say, didn't I? Wasn't I crying in the car when I was?
Yeah,
reading?
I know. I'm like, oh, God, where's that coming from?
No, I don't know how any of us cannot get emotional. So, oh my gosh. So, thank you.
And if I was more prepared, I would have had pictures of everything. And I'm sorry.
But you know what? We feel your heart and your passion, and I think every single person that's on here and anybody that's going to watch this in the future, we're just getting warmed up with this thing. We're going to save the planet. I want to go to the zoos. I got so many ideas. So I wanted to go back to, thank you, Michelle. So, and there's lots of questions that are coming up. Maybe because, we could be on for hours. It's 8:20. Anybody, you can hang out. My cats apparently have wound down. They're hanging out in front of the door, so I don't have to worry about them. I have water and there's a bathroom right here. I don't need to go anywhere. So, and I'm being funny. Hopefully you can see that. So I want to go back to Caroline, because Caroline just had a couple stories in the last couple of days, and dog and horse related. And I think that it's so fun to be able to share with each other, because it just gives us more encouragement, more energy. And then we're just nonstop. I want to tell everybody. I want to talk to every person I see with their dog, but they, probably think I'm crazy. But at any rate, I'll be quiet. And Caroline, come on.
That's okay. Hi, thank you so much. So I have two dogs that I rescued. One is 13 and one is 7 years old. And they were in a house when I had a third dog that was not rescued, but she had cancer. And when she was kind of the ruler of the roost, so they all knew, the two boys knew how to stay in line. But when she passed, they became rather very shy of people, strangers to the house. Unfortunately, men, for some reason, they came with this huge behavior, and that is years ago now. So everyone in my home, the people come to visit my house, like, don't pet the dogs. My trainer, Andy, knows. Mary, I think you've been to my house, like, just they like to come and smell you. They're really cute and they have these big eyes and everybody wants to pet them. Don't. Just let them be, let them welcome you into the house on their own. So twice now, thank goodness for the Healy, I feel that anyone with any animal, but I don't know anyone that has an animal that when they go to the vet, maybe they walk in the door, they start shaking. When they go to the groomer, they're kind of shaking. Why should this be so stressful? How unfortunate. And now also my dogs, they're just stressed out when people come into the house. So my one dog got terrible fleas, and I had hurt my back a little bit, so I couldn't bathe him, so I had to take him to the groomer. With COVID, my vet my vets know that I am always with my dogs. So I was not allowed to go into the vet. I was not allowed to go into the groomer. So they had to take my dog, change the leash, and walk in like we're all having to do for visits. And that is nothing I would ever want to do in a million years. My dogs are horrified and they cry or they start barking. They never bite anybody, but they're just very, very traumatized. So when I walk up in the morning to take the one in for the bath, first of all, the groomer that I'd used previously had closed. So I had to go to a new groomer. The only groomer that was available was a man. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm really going to put Healy to the test. And I woke up that morning. I started running short cycles. I run, 8 seconds, 17 seconds of Bach flower on my Cocker Spaniel. Stewie, the other one. So I ran it right in the morning, fed the one, got him in the car, drove him. I got out of the car and you had to give him to this guy in this gate and they were taking him. And I'm sitting there going, okay, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. And literally he did not bark. The guy basically took my leash off and put his leash on, and my dog walked right into a groomer, never met the groomer, never been to this groomer. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is great, you know? So I'm sitting there, I went for a long walk and the guy said, he'll be in and out in an hour. So I'm like, I want him in and out an hour because he's going to be really shy. So they did finish. And when he brought him back out, he's like, he was great. He didn't do anything. And I was like, okay. All right. Healy worked there. Not shortly thereafter, my Cocker Spaniel had his annual checkup. He is old. He's had spinal surgery. He's got very bad discs. And when people go to pick him up, he does like a 180 and twists. And at any point in time, he could compromise some of his discs. And for me, it's just not worth the stress of having him be injured to, have him checked unless there's something wrong. But he is due for his rabies vaccine, which is a mandatory by our state. And also he just needed his checkup. My vet knows him. He's known him for Dr. McKenna. He's known him for over 13 years. He knows everyone needs to be very cautious with him. So again, you had to drive up. Someone had to come out to your car. They took the dog in, and I'm just sitting there going, oh, please. So once again, I did the same program with the second dog. I woke up in the morning. I ran short spurts of Bach flower. I ran probably 3 series of that over the course of 2 hours before he went into the vet. And he went in, had his checkup. I'm waiting outside. I was like a nervous mother walking up and down the street going, okay, the vet's going to call and tell me what he needs, because you weren't allowed to speak to them face to face. The vet would call you on the phone. So I said, Dr. McKenna, how's it going? And he said, oh, he's doing well. He's obviously, his eyes are going, his hearing's going a little bit, this and that. And I said, what was his behavior like? And he said, he's done perfectly. He's incredibly calm. And I said, well, that's interesting. I was curious because I have this new device called the Healy, and I've been running these Bach flower programs on him. And he goes, well, Caroline, it worked. And that's Dr. McKenna, very Western medicine guy. And I was like, okay, Healy, you have proved to me that I can decrease stress in my little animals' lives that are so connected to us, especially with COVID. Our dogs and animals are becoming even more attached to us, and they have anxieties, separation anxieties, and things like that. And to be, like I said back in the beginning, to have this mobile device where owners can increase the care and have the opportunity to care for their animals at a higher level is phenomenal. Then I have a horse that has equine metabolic disease and Cushing's disease. Those are things that, if you're in the horse world, know that affect, your pituitary and I believe your thyroid. He's on medications for that. But even on the medications, that can compromise some issues in his body that I always try and address. Andy can be an unbelievable testimonial to this. She got the Healy, I believe, in March. We've been running programs on my horse from March. And then when I got my own, Andy gave me the reins and said, okay, you need to run the programs on your horse. I went from running, 1-minute programs now to 8 seconds, 3 times a day. I run all Healy. I run Bach flower, Materia medica, amino acids, Schussler salts. And then again, sometimes bioenergetic balance one based on what the all Healy programs tell me what to do. But what's most fascinating to me is my horse had allergies. He would cough. His coat was not very shiny. We always were struggling. So you get a little, I call them cakey muscles a little bit with some of the drugs that you're on and the Cushing's disease. He is blossomed. He doesn't have a cough when he rides. His skin and coat looks like silk. We have changed nothing in his program, nothing. What he eats, how often he's exercised. The only thing that we have changed is Healy coming into his life. Running programs on a 1,400 pound, 17 hand gelding horse. He is at the best of his life since I've owned him for 5 years, and he's 17 years old. So these 3 easy little testimonials are proving to me what Healy is, which Healy is a frequency and a resonance program that is the key to cell communication in the body of an animal or a human. And when you have a healthy cellular environment, and you can restore your cell membranes from inflammation, etc., and acute and chronic diseases, when you can address the cell tension, your entire body will manifest and change, and multiple things will start to work more correctly. So you have these side benefits that just start to blossom, and it's a phenomenon that is incredible. It's a gift.
It's beyond. I'm watching your hands and I'm going like this. So I'm not flipping people off. I dislocated my finger last week. After the F-bomb flew, I just went, oh, I have a Healy. Seriously, this thing, I didn't ride today. Andy knows. I just had to interject. We were having a little technical difficulty. Amy lost her connection. Renee, maybe could you help her? And then who is Vanessa? Vanessa, would you like to go next? I think we all need Kleenex by the time we're done with this tonight. It's so emotional. Thank you, Caroline. And I love your Felino. She's a beautiful horse. Okay, Vanessa, take it away. I want your hat.
Well, first of all, I want to say I got a new rule. Unless they're on fire, they're bleeding profusely, need pressure, or maybe a heart attack, I'm getting pictures. Andy, those pictures were amazing, and Dawn, you too. So, yeah, definitely going to get pictures from now on. So I'm going to limit mine to 3 as well. The first, I want to talk about my little dog. So I have 3 little dogs. One of them is she's a Shih Tzu, and my husband had babysit it for a week. I had to go down to Texas, and he takes care of animals, but he doesn't lift up the tails and look at everything going on. So when he brought her down to Texas, I saw she was like not walking really. Something was off. I lifted her tail up, and she had an anal fistula about half the size of half a centimeter size. Now, I don't know if y'all are familiar with anal fistulas, but just long story short, humans, animals can both have it. And, you usually have to go into the vet. You maybe have to have it excised. You maybe have to have a drain in, antibiotics. It can be a pretty long ordeal. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to test my Healy. So I scanned her. It told me, skin, wounds. It said depression. It said her teeth. And she did have some teeth issues. She's got a very tiny mouth. So she has to see a special dentist, But I am not joking, y'all. And I wish I would have. And I remember when I lifted up and started to do it, I thought I should take a picture. But it's hard to lift tails up and do pictures and stuff. But anyway, it wasn't even 30-something hours. That anal fistula was completely closed off and no drainage. I mean, it was closed in, no drainage. I cannot believe it. It was just literally, I was floored, okay? That's one. Another was, I have a little Yorkie, and he jumped off of a hotel. She jumped off of a hotel bed, high bed, and she subluxated her patella. So her knee joint is out. So the vet, he initially said it's about $2,500 to $3,000 for the surgery. We might as well go and do the other leg too, because it could happen. And there's no guarantee that it will work. So I'm like, I'm going to do my own thing, work with some other stuff. So I had treated with frequencies with another device before, had amazing results with it. But this time she did it again. She jumped off of the bed, and I know it sounds so strange. if somebody was to come into my bedroom at nighttime, they would think, oh my God, what are they doing here? Because I put a leash on her and I tied around my wrist, either me or my husband, because I can't take the chance of her jumping off again, you know. So I'm sitting with a leash, and then I use oxygen at night, not because I have apnea, but just for anti-aging. So I've got my oxygen, I've got the leash, and if I've got gloves on or whatever, it's an eye mask, so it's pretty rough. But anyway, I can't take a chance for injuring it again. So she did injure it again, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to run the scan on her. I'm going to see what's going on. It came up, she was pain, depressed, you know, the whole gamut there. I just put it beside her and I vibrated into her, and I did it for, you know, a couple times, because it's amazing. You try to think, people ask you, well, what did you use? How long did you use it? But you know, in the process, you're just trying to figure out, it's new. We're trying to figure out what's working, what's not working. Let's do something else. Let's change it up, you know. But I guess this is also showed me, not only am I going to have pictures, but I'm going to make a notation and have a book or a journal of what I'm actually doing, how long it's taking to really, let's get a little more scientific here. Okay. But anyway, she runs, you would not believe how I let her out, man. She is out that front door. She is running around our little circle we have. It's amazing. So that's two. Now my horse, I was going to tell you about him. He is so good. I really haven't, my horses they've been really, really well. But I told you he had a sensory ligament damage when I got him. We didn't know it. After about $30-something thousand that year on vet bills, because as Andy knows, the ultrasounds, everything else, I mean, it gets very, very expensive. Special boots, $800 for a pair of shoes we had to change out every 6 weeks. Yeah. But anyway, you know what really helped him though? It was frequencies. That's when I really got into frequencies more than what I had been dabbling in before. So the frequencies really helped him. And I actually put a video of my horses running. I mean, he couldn't walk. It was terrible. But he runs now like you wouldn't believe. I'm hoping to put him back into competition, but we're not there yet. Basically us and COVID and all that kind of stuff, you know. But what I wanted to mention was, like I said earlier, when I scanned him, you know, with our Healy, we can see the mental, what they're saying, what they're thinking, you know, because it's coming up emotionally, you know, mentally, physically. And sometimes it's the mental, it's the emotional that comes up first before. But with another device I had, it actually had said he was very head shy. And I like to have my horses where I can do anything to their heads. And I don't want them to ever get, you know, freaked out or whatever. I like to just be able to touch them everywhere. But he was very head shy, and it showed. He actually said he had been beat many times in the head. And of course, when we saw the tongue and everything, you know, and I literally, I just cried my eyes out, because I'm like, you know, I might have helped this one horse, but how many more are out there? You know, I can't even hardly go to the mailbox and get the letters for these certain horse rescues, and I'm like crying by the time I get back to the door, my eyes out, because who would beat animals like this and be mean to them, you know? In nursing, that was, you know, that was just a psychological thing, you know. When people are mean to animals, you look for other things as well, because you know, we all are supposed to have a desire to help things that cannot help themselves. But anyway, this is what I love about the Healy, is scan your animals. Even if you don't think there's anything wrong with them, you don't always know. Maybe they're not at the best of what they're doing. Maybe they're not thinking the best, or feeling something's off. So just like with us, it's good to just do a nice little tune-up, scan everybody, run a little short program on them. I muscle test, so I muscle test what my animals need, you know, and it's true. Actually, on our call today, Martin, I don't know if I'm sure y'all heard him say how he was working with the animals, and how the animals don't need that strong intensity or frequency, because it actually can frighten them or scare them. They'll start sweating, you know. But when you know that you know you've worked with them and that you've gotten results, and all the horse people on here know it, you get that nice yawn. You get that nice, you know, the teeth, you know, just that, you know how they do. And they'll drop that head down, and you can just work on them. And it's just a wonderful thing. So, so just, you know, do it for prevention too, even if there's no big issue going on. Anyway, thank you very much.
My God, seriously, I couldn't agree with you more. Every time I don't watch the news a lot, but I get a lot of, because I've donated money, and like all of us have, because we are just all saps, and we want to help the animal world. But this is the way that we're going to. I mean, I want to go to the pet store. I mean, there's a million things that we want to do. Thank you, Vanessa. So people there's lots of questions on the chat. And so for starters, hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I'm learning tons myself, and I think that we would like to do this more frequently. So please do share in the chats what kinds of things you would like to hear about. And somebody just asked, do we muscle test an animal? We don't, the vets do, but this is kind of like muscle testing. You know, I'm not a vet, but there was someone else that wanted to, she lost her screen, but then she came back, and I'm glad she did. Amy has some dog stories, and Vanessa, we're going to get you back on. You're a hoot lady. You're very fun. All right. So Amy, please share. Okay.
Hi. I have a 8-year-old husky. I adopted him when he was 6 years old. When he was 6 years old, he had a lot of hot spots. He had very thin hair. And so then at the age of 8 this year in April, he had a grand mal seizure. Now this was the first one he had had with us. I don't know if he had him in the past. So, you know, I took him to the vet, of course. They ran all the tests, basically said if he has more, we've got to put him on medications. They came up with him that he had toxins in his system. So we really aren't sure why he had the seizure. That was in April of this year. Michelle called me up and said, why don't we try Healy? And I said, why don't you try it on my dog? So my dog was pretty depressed. He was sleeping a lot, not eating a lot, not playful. You know, this was about 3 weeks or so after the seizure. So Michelle ran an Aura program on him. And then within about 15 minutes, he perked up, and we were out at our lake house. So he went down to the lake, played in the water like he was a puppy. So a month later, I got my Healy. And so this is what I do to the dog. I take his picture, I take the Healy, and I put it on his right paw to get the vibration. And then I will take, when it comes up with, I'll run all Healy programs. I will take his paw and put it on the little thumbprint area, so it reads him. And then it will come up with the 5 things that he may need. One thing it came up with was pain. So then I took that pain protocol and ran it again. And it came up with headache, back pain, sciatic nerve pain. So then I ran about between 2 and 5 minutes of the pain program on him. And I also noticed how tight his skin was. So usually you can pull up on the skin, and I couldn't pull up on any skin at all on him. So through that seizure, it seized up all his fascia. So I used a Graston tool to kind of, you know, go along the whole body from neck to his legs to loosen the fascia after I ran the pain program. That made him feel much better. And then I ran a few more pain programs, and pain didn't come up anymore for him. Headaches didn't come up anymore. So he's a different dog today. He's eating better. He's playful. He's up playing. He's playing in the water. He's taking long walks without being fatigued. So things that came up for him were the pain, allergies because of his hot spots. And I also would run the Aura program on him daily. The Aura program showed me the emotional things that's going on with him. He was abandoned, so it came up with a lot of nobody loves me kind of stuff. So I would run the Aura programs to balance out the energy. which again, within 15 minutes, he would perk up, he would perk his ears up, and he would be ready to play, go for a walk. He's a husky, so he sings. Throat chakra would come up with the aura on days he didn't feel good, and those are the days he didn't sing. So it was interesting how they matched how he felt that day. So he's doing very well. I still run the programs, but not as much because he's doing very good. It's a great, great device.
I don't know what else I can add to I love Healy. I actually have 4 of them. And every night, in the morning, at night, whatever. And like Michelle said, I don't run nearly as much as I used to. So having 7 animals, and any of you that have lots of animals, you know, it can be a little time consuming. And so that's why the vibrations are really awesome for our animals. But I will sit, I've got my routine. I go through each of them. I'm mindful, Michelle, if you're wondering. I'm mindful, like right now I'm running some programs on one of my horses, but I have a lot of stories to share as well, but I don't. How about this? If anybody has any thoughts on what else we can share, there were a bunch of questions. I think we answered, you know, to the greatest extent that we can because we're not practitioners. But I think I can probably speak for everyone that's on the panel. You've got to use the device, use it on yourself. Learn how to use it on your animals, be gentle, you know, use less is more, I've learned. Every day is a learning experience. When I go to the barn, we all share our stories, and every single person at the barn that I'm at, if I could and we could replicate this whole experience at every barn, in every house, I think that we will achieve what the founder has set for a massive goal. And all I can say is I'm just thrilled. I would like to do more of these, and so we will plan on them. So I know a number of people were asking, you know, where we're going to post this, and I had actually reached out to Doc Steve. So any of you who are members with Healy will know he's one of the I can't think of the mastermind group. I'm sorry, mastermind group. And I reached out to him, and he would like to have been on this Zoom or this webinar, but he had a mastermind meeting. So he asked me to share this recording, which we will do. And I know he'll post it in Telegram in various locations. And I know there's a couple of us that are on Teams, and we have Facebook pages. So we'll get it out there and share it with everyone. And I just want to say thank you to everyone, and let's go save the animal planet. I'm just looking, I think there's one more message. Oh, thank you. You're welcome, everyone. Seriously, I was so excited about this. So we'll do another one. So I'm sorry we were on so long, but wow, I learned a lot. All right. Well, signing off. See you guys soon. Love you. Love Healy. Bye.
Betty.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Great meeting.
We ran out of time. I'll speak next time, whoever put that in the chat. So thank you.
Yeah, so we want to hear from you. I know you're gonna have more stories with Rosie.
Yes. Well, or Lily, or whatever her name is. I don't know yet.
Awesome.
You will have a name by next time.
No. And seriously, everybody journal like crazy. I've gone through a couple binders. I know that I watch Andy every day, and she's with all her stuff, and it's Healy's hanging everywhere. It's the most fun I've ever had in my life. So thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.